Well, hello everyone. I hope you guys all had a good week. It's been a crazy week here, if you want to put it that way. uh, School. Let's start with school. Well, I told you all a few, for ones that are just starting to listen to us, our stories and things. I had went back to school to get my master's degree. Well, of course, I have health issues. I have brain tumors. So it really has been a hard thing in dealing with headaches and things. Uh, so it, it, it's been a rough time, and I've had to work with counselors and things to help with the studying and taking special tests and whole 9 yards. Well, I finally got through that one course, and I got through another course, and I'm on this one course, my last course for this semester, and I did task one. I had to, like, okay, see, what I never did tell is why I went back to school for my master's. Well, see, I went back to school for my master's because I wanted to teach full time, have no questions about my teaching abilities, nothing about the fact that, okay, I didn't have my degree in education. I wasn't state certified or certified as a public school teacher. Not that I want to, I know not every child can have a private or homeschool education, but I feel I can give back. Okay, because I did. I grew up in a public education, but that was a different time period and a different form. But anyhow, that's not the point. The point is, I wanted to get certified. I wanted to do all that so I could teach online, like cyber school, because I could do that. I could do that if I'm having a bad day and I have a headache and all that. I can do that from my house. I don't have to be standing in a classroom dealing with elementary students. Well, here in the state of Pennsylvania, I can only go to fourth grade because my bachelor's degree is not in uh, elementary education. So I could only go up to fourth grade. So I'm getting my master's in elementary education so I can be certified and teach an elementary class, if that makes any sense. I hope I made that clear. It seems confusing, trust me, and it's going to get even worse now because I am well over halfway through the school. Well, now I'm moving to Arkansas, so now clearances and everything have to be switched out there to there. So, long story short, it's all a mess right now. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. I had to make a lesson plan and teach a class by video for task one. So I made the lesson plan. The lesson plan was task two. Well, so I went ahead and I made the lesson plan. You didn't need to, but I did. And I taught the video task one, passed it first try. Second task was the lesson plan. I could not get that thing to pass. I would get so close, but then I'd be off. So close, and then I'd be off. And it was just the wording of it that was getting me. One paragraph was getting me. Confident all the way down, except for that one paragraph. Well, after the fifth submission, I got it, which really got me because it's like this is the same lesson plan I used to teach my task one. but it does make a difference. And after looking at it and going over it, I figured out what I was doing. I was actually teaching it right, but when I wrote it, I didn't write it that way, if that makes any sense. So, but anyhow, so I only have one more task to do on that. And then I'm taking my basic skills exam. Now, this is just in reading, writing, and math. See if you're up to the score that you need to be to move on, and if not, then you have to retake sections till you get it. Well, I had taken this already when I got my bachelor's, but that was clear back in 2015. And since then, it has been updated. And of course, the time lapse is over. So I got to take it again. So we'll take that and then redo clearances, and we should be ready to go, because I still have like 2 semesters left. And in that, I have to do observation and 2 content exams. Then the following semester, I have to do student teaching, which, pray for me, I'm not quite sure how that's all gonna work out. But anyhow, if you pray for me. And so we got that going on. So it's never dull. And since our last video, we talked on Sunday, I think. Yes, Sunday. Because we put our house on the market, I think, Tuesday. They had come, taken pictures, and the house was on the market. Well, that Wednesday, we had someone that wanted to come see the house, and of course we said Thursday and da-da-da-da-da. Well, then the same people came back again and looked at the house. So at this point, our house has just been on the market about a week. And our real estate agent called us on Saturday and said they made an offer, and they told us the offer, right? First person that came and looked at it, I was shocked. I mean, we have a beautiful house. God has blessed us with a beautiful house. You hear that all the time, of someone looks at it right away and boom. Well, hey, I guess I shouldn't be a doubting Thomas, but anyhow, because, the Lord is working. The Lord is working. So they put an offer in. Well, our real estate agent said, you know what, I always like to counter offer. And I'm like, okay, I think that's a good idea, because it makes you seem like you're anxious, Well, they were wanting to give us like $4,000 less than what we wanted for the house. So we countered back that, okay, we will leave. This is how quick they wanted it all to be done. They want a closing date of the 30th of June, that quick. So we put in a counter offer that, okay, because that was pretty much a dead set ringer, that closing date, because we found out they're expecting a baby and they want to be in before the baby gets here. So, we can understand that. So we're like, okay, 30th, great. We want full asking price for the house. And we thought, they're not going, Well, that was on Saturday. And then Monday was Memorial Day. I got a call from my real estate agent on Monday, on Memorial Day. They accepted our counter offer. And here we are. The house is under contract. They come in tomorrow to do the inspection. And then all we have left is the approval. And then we close on Thursday if everything goes well. Everything's going to go right down the path. But now, the next question is, have we found a place to live? No. Have we found where we're going? Yes. We are going to Arkansas. Broke. But you know how it is. It's all in God's hands. We are moving to Arkansas. We're looking at this military community, which I'm eligible because of being a disabled veteran. Well, I'm eligible, and it's like a development that we moved into, me and my wife, when we first got married. It's a townhouse. You have your own little area. That has like swimming pool and fitness center, and don't have to take care of the yard. They take care of all that. So we applied. So now we're waiting to see. So there's all these little moving pieces. Do we know how we're going to get there yet? No. Are we going to be transporting 2 dogs again in our lifetime? 2 vehicles and a U-Haul? Yes. But, that's all little stuff. And so we're just basking in the blessings. It's just moving right along. So we are not moving back into Arkansas where we lived before. We are moving in Little Rock, which is right there by the VA is there in Little Rock. So can't be any more blessed. Well, except one more thing. Pray for us that goes through and that we find a church. So, but this is God's work, so we know the church is going to come. But all right, anyhow, enough of that. So now that I talked about how we're moving to Arkansas, let's talk about us leaving Arkansas. I know, crazy, backwards, but I do everything backwards pretty much. All right, so we were living in Arkansas. Patrick was born in September of 2002. We moved in February of 2003. I'm sorry. Patrick was born in September of 2004. We moved in February of 2005. I was offered a new position, which was supposed to be a pay grade. I did get a raise, but it wasn't like a promotion like it was supposed to be. And that whole thing turned into a whole fiasco. And that's another story in itself. Not in a bad way. Oh, no. But it defined our life in certain ways, okay? But anyhow, so it's February. We're getting ready to move. We're moving to Lebanon, Missouri. That's a story in itself, but we'll get there. Living in Lebanon off and on. But that's another story. So, for another time. So, it's February. We have been going to Lebanon off and on looking for a house to buy, because we were going to put our house in Arkansas on the market. Now, I don't know if I told you, but we ended up buying that house that we rented. We started tearing up carpet because my wife is allergic to dust and pretty much everything you can think of. But we found out it had hard wooden floors underneath it. Now, this was before the hard floors really started taking off. But we were so impressed with it, and that we bought that house, and so we had it on the market. But this was a time when houses, especially in that area, were not like selling. We bought the house for $43,000. Yeah, imagine that. A huge house. Well, 1,500 square feet. Wasn't in the best area, but 43,000. We were trying to sell it for 60. Yeah, imagine 60,000 for a livable, nice house. Well, we couldn't sell it, so we ended up renting it through a lease company. Well, rental agency. That's a story in itself. But anyhow, we got to Lebanon, Missouri. We found a house. We found a house that we liked, and we put an offer on it. They accepted the offer. We had started the paperwork with the bank, and everything was going well. The house was inspected, and this was kind of a new process for me, because when our house was inspected and everything there in Arkansas, we were living there. So it kind of fell under a little bit of a different rule. Okay, so we weren't living there. They came and they inspected it. We lived in another state. Well, I didn't bother to call, because everything was supposed to have been squared away. When we got there, we were pulling right up in the U-Haul, getting the keys to the house, signing for the house, getting the keys, and moving right in. Now, it's a house we were settling on. We were out of all of them. This was the best. Well, what we did not know is the house had some cracks in the basement, and when the house was inspected, it fell through. The appraisal fell through, because when the house was inspected, they seen the cracks. Bank heard, they just didn't approve it because of the cracks in the basement. Well, apparently the real estate agent that had it listed wanted them to not accept that appraisal. Well, of course they had to accept it. Well, they did anyhow, not to let us know anything was going on. So I hadn't heard anything, and we're packing up, and I'm like, well, I need to find out, make sure this is the time. I was doing all, the house was being packed up, everything was going smooth. I called and I found out we have no closing date. We have no house. That had all been pushed aside. I'm like, was I supposed to know? So here we were moving 6 hours up the road with no house, a U-Haul, not a U-Haul, but a moving truck packed up that the company paid for and packed us up, because we were moving for the job. So they moved us up there, and we had no place to go. So I'm on the phone to everyone I can think of. They got us the real estate agent that the house was through, and she said, I'll tell you what, you can move into this house that I have up for sale until everything can work out. I'm like, okay, great, because we couldn't stay in the house. It was like, 800 square feet, very, very small, and no air condition. Oh my, it was crazy. So anyhow, we got the house, we got our furniture and everything there, we changed it up, and we no sooner got there, and we were looking at the house, and very small, but we found a place to live for now, and that's where I'm going to stop, and we'll pick up there next week. It's exciting how the Lord blessed and moved all that around. So All right, stick with me. It's a great story. You have to hear it to believe it. So, all right, talk to you next week. Have a good week. Bye. Well, hey guys, remember, if you like these videos, hit like, subscribe, and notify so you get these videos every week. It helps out the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. A lot of you listen, but you don't subscribe. If you subscribe, that helps a lot. Now, I made some mistakes in the video. They're coming tomorrow to inspect the house, and then we have to have an appraisal. Once all that's cleared, we can sign, and we'll close on the house June 30th. Okay, talk to you later. Remember, like and subscribe. Bye.